What plans?
Plans for world domination.
Say what?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Brawl. My name's Joe Gaither.
Come on, Joe. Let us hear it.
Oh, that was perfect. I thought.
All right, I'll keep going. Guys, you might want to follow everybody on Twitter. I'm Joe Gaither. You can follow me at Joe Gaither6, and I want to give out a huge shout out to my experts because they're the best in the business. The main man, he's 19. He's a freaking prodigy. His name is Joa. You can follow him on Twitter at 72strobro. And the other guy, he just graduated with the Masters man himself at lberry_40. That's my man, Lucas. I'm an Alabama fan. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I'm actually
I thought that was excellent.
Thank you for that introduction, Joe.
Yeah, that was wonderful. We are right here on episode 20 of the Fantasy Football Brawl. Yeah, double digits again. We should be throwing a big old party. We're not going to crumble at the end of the NFL season. We're not pitching it backwards like Josh Allen last week in the playoffs.
Tough.
Pounding the rock, surviving and advancing like our man Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans. Joe will pretty much go. The fake Joe Gaither pretty much covered it early in the intro. Follow everybody on Twitter for all our interesting perspectives and all our fun things we have on Twitter. Follow the podcast. We're at Brawl Fantasy, BRAWLFANTASY. You can get all our polls, all our tidbits. You can participate in our DraftKings challenge. Anything you want, it's on our Twitter. We also have a new Facebook page. You can find that on Facebook at Fantasy Football Brawl. And if you don't like listening to us, because we're whatever, you want to watch us instead, our loved ones, my wife and our parents, watch us on YouTube. You can go to the Brawl Network to see all our YouTube, and all our episodes will be on YouTube.
Like, subscribe.
The Brawl Network is working on some T-shirts. Yeah, rate, review, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It helps us out. It makes us feel really special and warm and fuzzy on the inside.
Can we do that little thing that YouTube?
The Brawl Network.
YouTube people do. They're like this. Down there.
Oh, yeah.
Like and subscribe, guys.
Like and
and
subscribe.
comment. Leave a comment. Tell us that we're ugly.
Smash that subscribe button. Break your freaking keyboard. I want to see it.
We want to get to how many ever subscribers that the next milestone is at, because that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, just take it little by little by little, just baby growth. Yeah, speaking of baby growth, the Brawl Network, they are working on getting us some T-shirts. They're working on maybe getting us a Hype Train T-shirt and maybe a Dunce Cap Cookie T-shirt and hopefully a shirt for our man Terry McLaurin.
Terry.
We'll be putting out those links to check out. Yeah, put out those T-shirts pretty soon. But, speaking of friends, we like friends here on the Brawl Network and at the Fantasy Football Brawl. Lucas, tell us about our friends at StubHub.
That's right. It is time for the playoffs. Playoffs are in full swing in the NFL. NHL season just passed its midway point. NBA's getting close to it. MLB's not going on right now. XFL, maybe in the future.
Hell yeah.
You can get all your tickets at StubHub.com. But we want you to use our link here. We want to use www.thebearsbrawl.com/StubHub to get your tickets because we support you. You support us. It works both ways. StubHub always has the discounts you want, the discounts you need, no matter what sporting event you want to go to. You want to see the Bucks play. You want to see the White Sox play over the summer. What'd you just say, Joe?
The Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
He was trying. He couldn't really finish it, but you know.
Gotcha. Well, if you want to go to the national championship, you better buy your tickets on StubHub.com and buy them from our link, www.thebearsbrawl.com/StubHub. Joe, what do we got in store for today?
Well, we're gonna have a quick episode here, on Fantasy Football Brawl. It's playoff time, so there's not much to talk about. Let's get right into it and talk about last week's performances, the wild card weekend. I just want a quick tidbit from each of you. Which player stood out the most to you? Which was your favorite fantasy football performance from the wild card weekend? Lucas, you go ahead, start it off and steal it. I got the top 10 listed on our document if you need some inspiration.
I loved watching DK Metcalf last week. I know I might have pooped on this guy before. I didn't think he could do it. I kind of don't really think he's a well-developed route runner, but this guy's he's a burner. He's huge. He goes up and gets jump balls. Russell Wilson throws him jump balls all game. It's so exciting to watch. I love watching him. I was wrong about this guy, and I'm excited to see him the rest of this playoffs. Joe, how about you? Who's your favorite player this week?
I can't lie. My favorite player this week was Taysom Hill. I mean, just for the memes. That dude is a third-string quarterback, and he's going out there and catching balls, throwing balls, running balls, up and down the field. They don't need Drew Brees. They don't need Drew Brees to get it done because he had a worse passer rating than Taysom Hill this week. Taysom Hill, 101 for 50 yards, 4 carries for 50 yards, 2 catches for 25 yards, and a touchdown. Is that fair? No.
Joe, what's so funny?
Well, y'all knocking my internet connection, so I was just laughing at that.
What's wrong with
I'm
your
not noticing
internet
anything
connection?
on my end, so we're just going to keep it rolling. Nothing for me. So
It looks like you're
I don't know
frozen in
about you
time to
guys.
me.
Yeah, you're just going over and over.
There he goes again. Right on cue. Look at him go.
This is an interesting episode so far. But yeah, I really have to go with Taysom Hill. That's my dude. Former Green Bay Packer. We're happy you're out of there, pretty much.
Well, let me
Pretty much
ask you
that's
this. I got to ask you this. Do you think if Taysom Hill was forced to play quarterback for a full game, he would be good at it?
it. No, not at all. No.
Joe?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I think we had to clear the
I
air
think
on
he's
that
an awesome
because
gadget player.
he's
No,
a
dude.
backup quarterback.
I was tempted to start him in DraftKings this week at the quarterback position because last week
You should have.
that's
He was
a-
top
That's a
10.
nice. That's a nice
He
game.
was number 10 overall in scoring.
I can't
Yeah,
even
he was number
determine how
10
many points he
overall in
scored.
scoring.
Okay.
17.5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a lot for throwing for 50 yards, running for
He
50
hit it.
yards, and catching 2 passes for 25 yards for a touchdown. Congratulations, Taysom Hill. You are a fun player to watch this weekend. Unfortunately, you're out of the playoffs.
That's right. So,
Ooh.
yeah, got to flip that coin, though, Joe. Who was your least favorite player to watch? Who was your biggest bust the fantasy football weekend? I got several names on the list, so let you pick from, or just go off the board and pick your own biggest bust for the weekend.
It's easy for me because this man let me down. I was happy that, he was having a nice resurgence in the city of Nashville for the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill, man, we know Derrick Henry had a big game, but you just didn't do much. That's the flat-out point for him. He didn't do much. He threw an interception, a weird interception at that, threw up his back foot for absolutely no reason. But it's too much to ask for him to do it for 10 or 8 or 10 weeks in a row where you need elite Ryan Tannehill, elite fantasy Ryan Tannehill. So I guess it caught up to him. Hopefully he has a nice game this week. I did not pick him in DraftKings this week, but I'm rooting for him because I'm rooting for the Titans, even though I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year. So
I'm going with the guy that he brought down with him. I'm going with A.J. Brown. I mean, 1 catch for 4 yards. Were there receivers involved in this game plan at all during the week? I mean, they won the game, but, they only scored 14 points on offense, In my opinion, it's pretty disappointing for the team that was pretty explosive to end the year. And if they do that again, they're going to get slapped by the Ravens, in my opinion, if they only score 14 points on offense. So, Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, passing game, get better, or you're just going to get annihilated.
yep.
Yeah, they got to get it together for the coming up divisional
But
round against the
I
Baltimore
feel like
Ravens.
the game plan was to keep Ryan Tannehill not involved, and it worked. But
Yeah.
man, you
it
can't
did-
have that this week.
I did want to mention something though. That Titans defense came up with a last-minute pick six, and if you're playing fantasy like we are, and if you pick the Titans defense in DraftKings, or you picked
That was
them in
big.
your FanDuel, or maybe you're still in the playoffs in some of your leagues. I know some people have these weird leagues that the NFL playoffs are their playoffs for fantasy. So if you're one of those people, if you had the Titans defense, consider yourself very lucky because you held Tom Brady to 13 points of offense, and you got a pick six off him. Congratulations to the Titans defense. Mike Vrabel, masterful work. Congratulations to him. We hope he does good things this week against Lamar Jackson
We'll
and
see.
the Ravens.
We'll see.
Yeah, did you see him hold that 3-minute plank before the game? Just out there, just busting it, push-ups and planking like he was about to play. But he did not play. Maybe he'll get involved in the action this coming week against to stop Lamar Jackson. So here on the Fantasy Football Brawl, we like DraftKings. We love DraftKings all year long. We like to play DraftKings. We like to rep DraftKings. We want to get you involved in DraftKings. But there was a little bit of news this week. There was a scandal. Yeah, sponsor us, DraftKings. We're on your side of this scandal. Don't worry, we're on your end of the scandal.
Joe Gaither cheated?
Jade Roper Tolbert.
Oh.
No, not this time.
Nope.
Not this time. Jade Roper Tolbert, a woman after my own heart. She was a former contestant on season 19 of The Bachelor. She won the $1 million prize this weekend. And why is that significant? Why is that interesting? Well, she's married to a fellow Tanner Tolbert. He also was a contestant. He was season 11 on The Bachelorette. So both of them on that nice reality kick. Fantasy, you might consider that to be boys reality TV. Well, they met on season 2 of Bachelor in Paradise and fell in love. Magic, sparks flying, Cupid's arrows, love. They're married.
In love.
Tanner Tolbert is Tanner, the husband, is a high-volume fantasy football player. So he goes on DraftKings. He goes on the other one. We're not saying it here. And he plays a lot of lineups and a lot of games basically to win money. That's his income. Well, they're in trouble this week because Jade Roper Tolbert won the $1 million. The couple submitted a total of 300 lineups this past weekend together, so about 150 each, with 298 of them being unique lineups. Now, the runner-up, they won a pretty fat stack of $100,000, and they're upset. They're hiring representation, and they're saying that they were cheated out of first place because Jade Roper Tolbert colluded with her fantasy football, her husband, and they cheated the second place winner out of the first place prize. Tanner Tolbert was talked to ESPN a little bit, and he was quoted as saying, we put in our separate players in our separate accounts and rooted for our own players. No one has ever said a peep about us when we lost for 17 straight weeks. Would the questions, accusations, and curiosity about this win be the same if the winner had been male and someone who already wasn't in the public eye? Joe, what do you think about all this? What do you think about this scandal and this controversy?
Come on, stop being a baby. You lost. They did the sensible thing and put in 300 lineups. They had to pay. They had to pay DraftKings. They entered in that competition. That is not them just being dumb. They put a lot of time and effort into making sure that they could get those lineups secure and set and try and win. Sorry, there's some weird noises going on in my dorm because I'm back at college now. But
it's haunted.
Yeah, at the same time, stop being a baby, dude. You lost. You won $100,000 though. This couple, they put in the work. I'm proud of them, honestly. I could say I'm proud because that's not cheating. That's being smart in my book.
So let me get this straight. You're allowed 150 lineups each if you play in a multi-entry contest, Joe. Is that correct?
I did a little bit of reading, and it sounds like it was pretty much they followed the rules. They just each made sure they were submitting separate, unique lineups. Out of 300, only all of 298 were unique. So only 2 lineups were the same, essentially. Right. I mean, that's wild. It takes a lot of work and a lot of,
a lot of thoughtfulness. But, to win the $1 million, there obviously has to be a big pool of people still playing in that regardless, I think. And like Joe said, they shut out the money. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, in my opinion. I mean, has DraftKings released a statement on this yet?
They're in the middle of investigation. They have not paid out yet. They have not paid out for the winnings. Just a little extra information. The husband played pretty much all his lineups with the NFC quarterbacks over the weekend, and the wife played about all of her combinations with the AFC quarterbacks over the weekend. Now, Edward Fear, the director of Global Daily Fantasy Sports, called the problem of people playing, to get together an endemic and something that happens in every significant contest. Basically saying that there are always teams that play off and play together and kind of team up to try to scheme this way and win.
Here's a grand way to stop
If we
this.
had the funds here, go ahead.
I mean, here's a grand way to stop this. I mean, if you're a big time fantasy player, and you don't want this to happen, they have to make it so that each player can only submit one lineup and that's it. Like, you're gonna have to go through some, fiery hoops to freaking collude on submitting more than one lineup and getting a group of people to do something like this. Like, it's the only way to stop something like this. So what's the point of having a multi-entry contest if you don't want something like this to happen? Is my
Honestly,
thing.
this dude has a point too. Like if he won, or if someone who a non-famous person, someone who's never been in the public eye won after doing this, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I think that it's because she's a woman, bro. I think
Well,
there's
that's
a
what
lot.
the husband said.
I think that there's a little bit
The husband
of
said
oh, so the wife won. It wasn't the husband.
the wife won. And
the
Okay.
wife won, and the husband is saying all the cry is about the wife winning, and basically people saying, "Oh, she didn't really win. You played for her," kind of thing.
Because he's like the DraftKings experts, quote unquote.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but, like,
exactly.
I think that's BS. I think that there's definitely some sense of sexism that women can't play daily fantasy. I guess I know
Well,
that we're not trying to get too political here, but I just think that's BS. I think that's straight up
Yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah, my question is, I wonder if the guy who came in second or whatever, I wonder if he knew, who this person was that won before he filed this. I'm sure he had to have, probably.
He had to have found out some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
She won with a score of 180 points.
That's a lot.
DK Metcalf was in her lineup, and basically that put her over to win the contest.
All right, so fantasy rolling, fantasy judge Joa. What do you say? She's gotten off free. She's getting the $1 million.
She should get the $1 million.
I'm agreeing.
She won
I
it fair
agree.
and square. They won it fair and square. That's smart. That's just not playing the system, but that's playing smart. That's the way to do it. And if we did that, I'd
Exactly.
be proud of each one of us. Let's get $333,000 apiece.
I agree. Like they said, they played 17 weeks and lost every time. Like, I'm sure this happens all the time. Like, they're not the first people to invent this idea. Like,
Okay,
come
so,
on.
like, yeah,
we
like,
know
what-
it was out there.
What I was thinking is that, okay, in the previous 17 weeks, right, there's been so many more options for them to choose from, so many more relevant options for them to choose from for the same amount of money that they could choose for this week. This week, since there was a limited amount of players, they could they could figure out a way to have less amount of lineups and still be able to win. So they could fit their amount of players, the relevant players, into their 300 unique lineups, 298. But I think that's pretty smart. I think that they won fair and square. And dude, you won $100,000. Like, stop complaining.
Shut up.
Stop complaining. You
Yeah,
lost.
don't
fair
waste
and
that
square.
money on. Don't waste that money on a lawyer. Take that 100,000 and eat down.
Yeah,
Pay down some
it-
debt or
It
go on a
really
vacation or something.
it really sounds like they're trying to extend this now that they know these two people are on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Like, whatever. If DraftKings doesn't want this issue, change it so that every person can only enter one lineup, and that way the person with the best lineup will win. Period. End of story. If you don't like it, play single entry DraftKings. $100,000 winner. Shut the hell up. I am ruling. Jay Tolpert, keep your $1 million. You earned it.
I think that'd be kind of harder, though.
There you have it.
Because,
What would be harder?
well, I think that, like,
You can
if you can't put in multiple lineups, right?
but you can
Then, especially in a limited week like this, there's going to be so many of the same lineups that they might have multiple winners of that $1 million tied. So that's my
Well,
thing.
that's the way it is. They already have that anyway. Like, they have the option for single entry, and that's the way it is. If your
Yeah,
lineup
yeah,
is the same as
obviously.
someone else, you split the pot. But that's the only way to eliminate this problem. You'll
Well,
never
I guess that's tough for the guy who won $100,000. You're so unlucky. You're the most unlucky person ever.
Life is hard for you. You're getting a big fat check in the mail. So tough, man. Like, I think we're all in agreement here on the Fantasy Football Brawl. The time it takes to figure out the multiplicity of your lineups and how to be so meticulous with, making sure you have different lineups every week, I think that should be rewarded, basically with a win. I mean, obviously they won, and
Not only
obviously they've been
that,
playing this way for 17 weeks. I think
you're staking the money for it too. Like, you're paying your entry. You're not cheating the system that way. You're paying for your entry to get those 150 entries, whatever. Go ahead.
Well, there you go. I think we're all in agreement there. Well, you know what that sound means. It's time for us to play our DraftKings. I wanted to lead up to this segment with a little controversy, but there's no controversy here. This week, our winner was Mickey Cats 12, one of our listeners. He played in our wild card DraftKings challenge, and he won. He won with a score of 137. It ain't no 180 like Jay Tolbert, but 137 is pretty dang good. Now, second place was one of Lucas's friends. He's a PGA pro. What's his name, Lucas?
Eric. His name is Eric.
His name is Eric.
Eric.
So Eric finished in second place. Congratulations. One of Lucas's buddies. Lucas finished in third place. Always representing the fantasy football brawl by placing highly. Austin Fugelstaff finished in fourth place.
He's always on my coattail. He's always on my coattail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the important thing is he's always behind you.
That's right.
Now, Joa finished in sixth place
Not
with
awful.
88.4. No, not awful considering the limited amount of options. And, oh, man, I finished
Considering
second to
your
last. I
score.
finished eighth place. Eighth place with 61, so that's pretty bad. I've been cursed ever since Lucas said, "Oh, you've never finished in last amongst us." Well, I think I finished in last for 3 or 4 weeks in a row
That's
since
right.
he said that.
Ooh.
So because of
Magic,
that,
baby.
I have to go first, and I'm going to hopefully present a lineup that gets me back again, that gets me back into the winner's circle. So here we go. Quarterback, I'm playing Patrick Mahomes. Running back, I'm playing Marshawn Lynch and Raheem Mostert. Wide receiver, I'm playing Miracle Hardman, DK Metcalf, and Deebo Samuel. Tight end, I'm playing Mark Andrews. And flex, I'm playing Mr. Heisman Trophy Mark Ingram. And for my defense, I'm playing no-fly zone Seattle Seahawks. Come on, boys. Get together. Get me back in the winner's circle. I got to have a good score out of you guys this week. Let's do it on divisional weekend. Joe, what do you got for your lineup, sir?
Unfortunately for you, Joe, I think my lineup is much better. I'm honestly astounded on how I was able to do this lineup. It honestly doesn't make sense to me. I've said honestly like 4 times in the past 3 sentences. Okay, my quarterback is Kirk Cousins. My running back is Derrick Henry. My running back is Aaron Jones. My wide receiver is Tyler Lockett. My wide receiver is A.J. Brown. My wide receiver is Stephon Diggs. My tight end is Darren Fells. My flex is Jacob Hollister. And my defense is the San Francisco 49ers.
I like
Lucas,
it.
what about you, man? The OG.
The winner.
Give me a little drum roll here while my DraftKings is loading up. There. All right, give me a second here. I got to make my lineup. Just kidding. All right, my QB, I'm going with a little Patty Mahomes action. My 2 running backs, I'm going with Aaron Jones and Carlos Hyde. My receivers, I'm going with Marquise Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Deebo Samuel. In my tight end spot, I'm going with Mark Andrews. In my flex, I'm going with little 2 running back action on Green Bay. I'm going with Jamal Williams. In my defense, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Let's do it this week. Let's win again.
My lineup's better.
on the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
we're about to find out about that, Joe. We'll see whose lineup is the best. If you guys want to get in on the contest, we want you in on the contest. You can find that link at our Twitter, at Brawl Fantasy. We want everybody to be in on the contest. We want to get this as big as we can. And so show how smart Lucas really is by winning every week. So find that link on the Twitter page and find that link on our new Facebook page. That's Fantasy Football Brawl on Facebook. You can find that link and join us. It's free. Did I mention it's free? It's free $99 to play. So you don't have to sign up for DraftKings, put your credit card number in, and, give a lot of money. It is absolutely free to show how smart you are on the Fantasy Football Brawl DraftKings Challenge.
Heck yes. And, there's another place that we like to talk about on this show. We like to talk about StubHub. We hope DraftKings will sponsor us one day. But the guys who do sponsor us over at Fanatics are my people. I love Fanatics with all of my everything. They give us everything. They give me all the gear I need. They give me anything I would want. They give me jerseys. A couple days ago, I had some friends who were looking like, I want to buy a jersey. One of them obviously is a Packers fan, of course, and he wanted to buy a jersey. He ended up buying a crispy what did he buy? Aaron Jones, I think. I think he bought an Aaron Jones jersey, and I'm like, okay, dude, you know what? Please use our link for the Fanatics website. We would really appreciate it. And he was like, you know what? I know you're a Bears fan, but I'm going to use your link at www.thebearsbrawl.com/fanatics. And I was like, thank you so much. And then my other friend came into the group chat, and he was like, hey, I'm about to buy an Oklahoma hoodie. Can I use your link too? He bought the hoodie with the link. And my other friend who's a Jets fan came into the chat, and he's like, I want to buy a Jamal Adams jersey. And I was like, that's a good choice. Hopefully he doesn't get traded so that jersey is worthless. But there's a thing on Fanatics called a jersey assurance, and it's 90-day jersey assurance. So if your player gets traded to a new team, you can get that jersey or a different jersey of your choice. Fanatics is everything you need. Please check them out. We really appreciate you at Fanatics, and we really appreciate you guys for checking them out. Check them out at www.thebearsbrawl.com/fanatics. That's our link. Please use it. Have a good night.
Well done. Well done. Good read. Okay, so we're going to get right into the divisional rounds, a little bit like we did last week, and I'm going to have our experts rank. Last week we did top five, but I'm going to cut it off and do top four this week. So we're going to play with the quarterbacks first, and I know the quarterbacks are Joe's favorite people to play with.
Yes.
So I'll let you go first here. Rank your top four quarterbacks this week. Your options this week are Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Aaron bleeping Rodgers.
So I just got to crack my knuckles real quick because I'm getting in the QB spirit. All right. My number one QB this week is going to be Patrick Mahomes. My number two QB this week is going to be Lamar Jackson. My number three QB this week is going to be Kirk Cousins. And my number four QB this week is going to be Russell Wilson.
I love it. What about you, Lucas?
No explanation on this, Joe?
Oh, well, I mean, I could throw in a little bit. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think that he should be on the Bears right now, but some draft analysts disagreed back in 2017.
This is a Trubisky Bowl.
Yeah, it hurts.
My heart.
Watson versus Mahomes. Bears didn't even interview Watson. All right. I think that this Texans secondary is going to get absolutely shredded by Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with you.
To be a
bloodbath.
I'll talk about it later in my picks, but it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a riot. Patrick Mahomes is getting ready. My number two QB was Lamar. It's because he's Lamar Jackson. I don't think that unless they figure out a way to game plan for Lamar's running ability and his passing ability. Remember, guys, he led the league in touchdown passes and in rushing yards as a quarterback. Not rushing yards for everybody, but just
it's hard to slow down.
Quarterback rushing yards. So that dude is a dynamic X factor, and I don't think that there's many ways to slow him down, so I'm going to put him at my number two. My number three is Kirk Cousins. I think that this dude showed he had it, and I think he's breaking his curse. I think he's breaking the Monday Night Football, the prime time, the playoff curse. I think that this dude can have a great week this week. My number four guy is Russell Wilson, and I think that is without stated that he throws beautiful deep balls, and a lot of these Packers cornerbacks get beat deep. Kevin King, love him short, don't love him deep. Jair Alexander, love him short, don't love him deep because they get beat by the deep ball, and that's Russell Wilson's specialty, and he's got two guys on the outside that are monsters that can do it, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
It's a good list. I like it. My list is going to be similar to start off. I'm going with Patty Mahomes, too. Like you said, I don't think this Texans defense is very good. Their secondary is horrible. I think he's going to annihilate him. I think 4 to 5 touchdowns this week for Patty Ice, and Andy Reid is hard to beat out of the bye week. My second QB, I'm going with Lamar. Like you said, he's so hard to slow down. I think Mike Vrabel might have a good game plan in place to slow him down, but he's going to get his. He's going to get a ton of rushing yards. He'll probably throw 2 or 3 touchdowns. So put Lamar there in my number 2 spot. My number 3 spot, I'm going with Russell Wilson. Everything you said, the Packers give up some of the most explosive plays in the league, and they're playing the Seahawks, who have one of the offenses that produce the most explosive plays in the league. I think this is kind of a matchup nightmare for that defense, and I know Russell has not played well in Lambeau at all. He's played terrible there, actually. Like you said about Cousins, I think Wilson breaks his curse there. So I'm going with him at number 3. And my 4th QB, I know they have a great secondary, but I'm going with Deshaun Watson. I just think he's going to have to put up numbers this week for them to even have a chance. picture them getting down early and him having to throw a lot. So I'm going to stick him there in my number 4 slot. I don't really love any of the remaining quarterbacks.
Kirk.
I've never been a Kirk fan, but he did have a nice finish to the game last
You
week.
like that?
I think he blew his load.
So right into the running backs, the men who carry the rock. We're going to have our guys ranked top 4 again, and they have their options are Dalvin Cook, Alex Madison, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, Derrick Henry, Deion Lewis, Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde, Damian Williams, LaShawn McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, Travis Homer, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams. Lucas, give us your top 4 for the weekend.
So this might surprise some people. My number 1 this week is going to be Aaron Jones. I think the Seahawks are, bottom of the league in run defense, and I think that's where they're susceptible. I think this is where the Packers are going to expose them. So I'm going to put him there in my number 1 slot. My number 2 slot, I'll probably go with Derrick Henry. The Ravens have given up some really big rushing games this year, but overall they're one of the better run defenses in the league. But Derrick Henry's such a monster. That Titans game plan, like Joe said, is going to be keep the ball out of Lamar's hands. So I'm going to stick Henry there in my 2nd spot. He'll get the volume. He'll probably get in the end zone 1 or 2 times and in for a big week. My number 3, this is tough because he's playing a really tough matchup this week in San Francisco. I just have to go with Dalvin Cook. He's going to catch the ball a lot. They're going to give him a ton of carries. I think, like we said before, volume kind of trumps the matchup there. So I think Cook's going to finish there in the number 3 spot. I like him this week just because pure volume. Not a great matchup, though. And my number 4, this is really tough for me because I'm between Raheem Mostert and Carlos Hyde. I'm going to stick Carlos Hyde in there. I think the way to beat the Chiefs is to run the ball on them. And if the Texans know that, Carlos Hyde could have a really big game. They need to feed him a lot. But we'll see. If they get down early, like I think, and Mahomes kind of goes off, then he might be shut down a little bit. But I'm going to stick him there in a dart throw. It's my number 4.
My rankings are as follows. At number 1, I have Derrick Henry. I think that if you go anybody besides Derrick Henry at number 1, I can't trust it, man. I think that he's shown all season long that he's this guy that can just take the team and drag them on his back. And he did that last week when Ryan Tannehill didn't play well, and he's playing another tough defense. Both of these defenses, super tough that they played. They played New England Patriots defense, and they're going to play the Ravens defense. And I don't think it stops there. I think that Derrick Henry has a nice game. At number 2, I got Dalvin Cook. I like him this week because I like the Vikings' usage for him. I think he gets in the end zone a couple times, but I think that he could also catch a bunch of passes out the backfield. Number 3, I got Aaron Jones. Similar reasons you said. I don't know if it's going to be a Jamal Williams week, because sometimes it's a Jamal Williams week around in Green Bay, and we don't know because Matt LaFleur is kind of weird about it, and Aaron Rodgers is also kind of weird about it. And my number 4, I'm going to go with Marshawn Lynch. I think that the way to beat the Packers is to run with big, powerful backs, and I think that they can do that this week. I think it's Marshawn Lynch week again.
I'm going to change my tune a little bit. I'm going to put Raheem Mostert in my 4 spot, and I'm going to slide Carlos Hyde down there in my 5 spot. I just think we saw what Kamara did last week. The 49ers are a run-first team. Big Mostert week. I think they're pretty equal. Carlos Hyde, I think, is in store for a huge workload, but I'm going to slide Mostert slightly ahead of him.
There you go with our running back rankings. So we'll go right to the guys on the outside, the wide receivers. And, Joey, you'll be up first. So here are your options. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, Dante Pettis, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp, Marquise Brown, Willie Snead, Seth Roberts, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Miracle Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, David Moore, Devontae Adams, Marquez Valdez, Scantling, Geronimo Allison, and Alan Lazard. Hit me with your best 4.
This is so tough. I think that right now I'm going to have to go with my number 1 being DeAndre Hopkins. Even though he's playing against that really nice Chiefs secondary, I think that it's a DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson connection week. My number 2 is going to be Adam Thielen. Yes, he did have a fumble last week, but I think that, I'm gonna go with the tie between both the Vikings receivers. One of the two is gonna have a huge week, so I'm not gonna include them both. But I think that they are both. Either one of them is gonna have a nice week this week. My number 3 is going to be AJ Brown, and I think that he's gonna have a bounce back week. I don't think that the Ravens are going to game plan as well for Ryan Tannehill because they haven't seen him as much as the Patriots have. The Patriots had seen him for his entire career. So I think that it's going to be a bigger Ryan Tannehill week this week. So I think that A.J. Brown's going to have a nice week. And my number 4 is going to be Tyreek Hill. I think that he's too fast for this Texans secondary.
So I'm gonna start with the guy you left off with. Tyreek Hill's gonna be my number 1 this week. I think it's gonna be a monster throwing week for the Chiefs. I think Mahomes is absolutely going to go off for this bad Texans secondary, and I think Tyreek Hill is just going to go, be the beneficiary of it. He's going to go nuts. I love him there in my 1 spot. I'm very confident in him this week. My number 2 receiver this week, I'm going to go with Devontae Adams. I mean, the Seahawks secondary and cornerbacks, they're okay. They're a bend but don't break, defense. Devontae Adams is kind of the centerpiece of that Packers throwing game. I like him a lot this week, so I'm going to stick him there in my number 2 spot. My number 3, I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. Like you said, it's kind of a toss-up. You don't know if Thielen or Diggs is going to go off, but it seems like Thielen's getting healthy at the right time. And even though he might have a tough matchup with, Richard Sherman, they're going to try and get him the ball. I know Diggs is a little bit banged up now as well, so I like him there in that 3 spot. In my 4 spot, I got to go with DeAndre Hopkins. No matter who he has on him, he's going to get his. I like him a lot this week. Special shout-out to DK Metcalf this week. I would put him there in 5 if I had another spot, but he has a very high ceiling this week versus that Packers secondary that gives up a lot of big plays.
I like your wide receiver rankings for both you guys. So tight ends, we'll go right into it. Lucas, you'll be up first. Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith Jr., George Kittle, Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst, Nick Boyle, Darren Fells, Travis Kelce, Jacob Hollister, and Jimmy Graham. There's a lot of big names on that list. I'm interested to see how both of you guys sort them out.
So for my number 1, I mean, I got to go with Travis Kelce. As we've been saying, just this Texans defense is susceptible. I think this Chiefs pass game is going to be hard to stop this week, so I got to put him in there in my number 1 spot. My number 2, I love Mark Andrews. The Titans are a bottom 10 pass defense in the league versus tight ends, so I love Andrews there in that 2nd spot. Lamar will try and always get the ball to his tight ends no matter who they are. Number 3, I'm going with George Kittle. A little bit tougher of a matchup there versus the Vikings, but he's always going to get his no matter who's out there. And number 4, I'm going to go with Darren Fells actually over Hollister, which might be a little surprising for people who know me. I love Hollister. Fells just has a great matchup, and Watson's going to have to take what he can get, and I feel like this is one of those weeks where he finds the end zone a couple times.
Yeah, I like your list. I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. I got George Kittle at my number 1. I think that dude is the best tight end in football. And I don't think that he's going to have a week that's going to make me doubt that. So my number 2 is going to be Travis Kelce for the reasons that you stated. I think that it's going to be a big game for those Chiefs, and I think that they're going to have an easy win over those Texans. And number 3, I'm going to go with Mark Andrews, the Oklahoma Sooner product with type 1 diabetes. I think that he gets it done. He's a good guy, good role model to my brother. And so I think that he's a nice week too. And that Titans defense can't cover everybody, including all the speedsters on the outside. And my number 4 is going to surprise a couple people, but I'm going to go with Irv Smith Jr. He's like a big wide receiver that plays tight end from Alabama. I wonder who in this podcast went there. I forgot. Sorry. And I think that he's going to have a nice week. I think that he finds the end zone.
Well, there's the big boys in the middle catching passes or game-winning passes in the case of Kyle Rudolph. So for defense, we're only going to go do 3 picks for the defense. I got Vikings, 49ers, Titans, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, Seahawks, and Packers. Joa, you went second last time, so you're up for your top 3 defenses.
All right, my top 3 defenses this week. I'm going to go with the number 1 being the Chiefs defense. I think that they're going to be able to shut down Deshaun Watson through the air, and I don't think that there's going to be enough of a threat on the ground for them to have a bad game. My number 2 is going to be the Vikings defense. I think that they forced Jimmy G to be very uncomfortable, and I think that they've played amazing so far in the playoffs. I mean, they played 1 game, and that was against the high-powered Saints offense in a dome. So I don't know. I think that this Saints team was very good, and the Vikings went to New Orleans, and they beat them. So my number 3 and final defense, I'm going to go with the – this is hard. I'm going to go with the Seahawks defense. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers has looked like himself. And I think that continues, and I think that the Seahawks might be able to find a way to get a dub.
Yeah, I like them this week. My 3 defenses, my number 1's going to be the Ravens. To be honest with you, I just don't know if the Titans have it. And even if they run the ball and play keep away, they're not going to score many points if they do that. And if they do throw it, I could see the Ravens making Tannehill, throw a few turnovers there. So I like the Ravens at number 1, especially with their ability to take it to the house. I've seen them do it before. And then number 2, I'm going with the Chiefs, like you said. I just think Houston's going to struggle in this game. Their secondary is really good. If they get up early, they're going to make them throw. So that's big for that secondary. I could see them getting a couple interceptions there. Number 3, I'm kind of going with chalk here. I'm going to go with the 49ers. I don't believe the Kirk Cousins type. I don't think he can do it again on the road. I think their defense is going to be a lot for him, and I could see him forcing a few turnovers there. So Ravens, Chiefs, 49ers.
And lastly, for the guys who kicked the ball, you can't pick them on DraftKings, but they were in your lineups all year long. These are the game winners here. So Dan Bailey, Robbie Gould, Greg Joseph, Justin Tucker, Kaimi Fairbairn, Harrison Butker, Jason Myers, and Mason Crosby for the kickers. Lucas, give me your top 3 kickers.
Number 1, I'm just going with Justin Tucker. I feel like he's reliable every week. You know what you're going to get out of him, and I believe in him to score a lot of points this week. Number 2, I'm going to throw in Dan Bailey there. I think the Vikings will have some trouble moving the ball, but maybe not to the point where they won't be in field goal range quite a few times. So I'm putting Bailey there in my second position. And third, I think this is going to be a close tie for me. I'm going with Mason Crosby and Harrison Butker. I just think the Chiefs are going to score a ton of points and he'll get his opportunities. But again, in that Seahawks game, I think that Crosby I think the Packers and the Seahawks are going to battle out in another low-scoring game. And I could see just Crosby knocking through, a ton of field goals. So
sounds solid. My number 1 is going to be the same as your number 1, and that's Justin Tucker. I don't think that you can argue that he's not the best kicker in football. So, yeah. My number 2 is going to be Harrison Butker. I think he has that big leg, and I think he gets it done for the Chiefs. Lots of extra points. Maybe a couple of field goals thrown in there too. And my number 3 is going to be Mason Crosby. And I think that's the only points that the Packers can score aside from a blip touchdown here or there from Aaron Rodgers.
I think it's going to be another low-scoring game, kind of like we saw versus the Eagles, honestly. It's going to be cold. I think it's going to be just whatever quarterback I think makes bigger plays. But we're going to get right into that, right, Joe?
Yeah, we're not the pick show, but it's that time. It's time to make picks. It's playoff time. We like to get in on that action.
Hell yeah.
We'll just start it right off with the first game on Saturday. The 49ers are a 7-point favorite at home with the Vikings. We'll just go our three-man roundtable. Joe, give me your pick for this game.
All right. I have the Vikings beating the 49ers by a score of 28-25. 28-24.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Kirk Cousins break the curse again week. Last week I was 3 for 4 on my picks, and so I had a really nice weekend. And I didn't believe in Kirk Cousins, but he made me change my mind, and he beat those Saints in the dome. In the dome in New Orleans. You don't just do that. I mean, no. So I'm going with the Vikings. I'm going with the hot hand. And I don't trust Jimmy G as much as I trust Kirk Cousins. So that's my reasoning this week.
Yeah, I don't trust Jimmy G a lot either, but I just think that run game is so good, and I think that's how teams can kind of beat the Vikings there. I'm going to go with the 49ers in a very close game. I'm going to say 24-20. So if you're a betting man, I think the Vikings cover. I think they're going to cover the +7, but I'm going to go with the 49ers to win outright. I just think they're going to be able a little too much, running the ball on the Vikings. I think Shanahan's going to have a great plan coming out of the bye week, and I just think Cousins will make probably a costly mistake at some point in that game. I don't know. I can't say I trust him that much this week. Joe, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to be on your side there, Lucas, so I hope that doesn't curse you. I think that the 49ers win a close game. I think the Vikings will cover, but I see a Joey Bosa strip sack in Kirk Cousins' future, or a Richard Sherman costly interception in Kirk Cousins. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The racist.
Well, one of the Bosa boys, I see the same sort of thing with Shanahan really having a good game plan to go after the Vikings on a bye week. So I'm going to go right with your pick. 49ers win, but Vikings cover. The next game on Saturday night is going to be Ravens against the Titans. The Ravens are a 10-point favorite at home against the Tennessee Titans. Lucas, what's your thoughts on this game?
It's another one. I think this is a game I think the Ravens will win. I think the Titans will cover, though. I think 10's a lot of points, especially for this Titans team who's surging at the right time. I think they're going to play keep away for a lot of the game, like we said. I don't think they're going to throw the ball a lot. Henry will keep the chains moving. He'll keep the time ticking. It's going to keep the Ravens from scoring a ton of points in this. I'm going to say the Ravens win, though, 27-20.
I'm going to agree that the Ravens are going to win, and I think that it's going to be a fairly close game, but I do not think that the Titans are going to have what it takes to get it done, which sucks because I really love watching this Titans team. I love what Mike Vrabel does. The other week, I had a great time watching him mess with the clock. That was so fun. I don't know. Lucas, you were saying that you didn't like it, but I'm like, I do like it. I think it's fun, and I think it's cool, and these Titans – they're fun to watch, but Lamar Jackson is more fun to watch, and I think that this is a 28 to 21 type of game.
Okay. I think we're all going to be in unison on this. I think the Ravens will win, but I don't think they'll cover. That 10-point line is pretty big for a playoff game. I think that this game will be over in about 2.5 hours. Both teams will be pounding the rock, and the clock will be tick, 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 tick going away. So I think Lamar Jackson just has a little bit more to offer the Ravens than the Ryan Tannehill does to offer the Titans. So I think that they'll probably get up early and just maintain a slight lead most of the game. Going into Sunday, we've got the Chiefs and the Texans. The Chiefs are a 10-point favorite, another big line. The Chiefs are a 10-point favorite against the Texans. So, Joe, we've already talked a little about this. Give me your thoughts on this game, sir.
This is a bloodbath. This is a blowout. This is the Mitchell Trubisky Bowl. And, we're sad because, one of these teams should have Mitchell Trubisky instead of the Bears. And, I'm not going to say which one, but, one of them should. And so the Chiefs are going to win this game pretty handily. And it's going to be by a score of 38 to 17. Yeah.
Wow. So you're going big time. I'm agreeing with you. I think they kind of beat the piss out of the Texans. I'm going with 34-21. Chiefs win. I think Mahomes just goes nuts. Andy Reid he's so hard to beat out of the bye week. He's almost invincible out of the bye week, and I think Mahomes is just gonna have a heyday versus secondary.
Absolutely.
If I had to be completely honest, I don't think the Texans are a playoff team. Joe, take it away.
I agree with all three of you.
I don't know. Like Watson at times last week, he just looked bad. He looked really bad, and.
Well, they were down 16-0, and it might have been worse if they had that lucky call, the end zone touchback, fumble, touchdown, not a fumble, not a touchdown.
Yeah, thing. to start the second.
They could have been in a huge hole and would have been out right then and there.
Yeah.
I do see a Chiefs win, and I see a Chiefs cover. I don't know if I go as far as 38 points like our man Joa, but I see a 31-17. To give us a cover there, something like that.
If Josh Allen isn't stupid, The Texans aren't even here.
Exactly. Yes, Josh Allen did a lot of really good things in that game. That has to be admitted. But you also have to acknowledge the other side of the coin. He did a lot of bad things as well.
Stupid.
Yeah, and people will say, oh, the Texans beat the Chiefs earlier this year. That was when they had Matt Moore playing. They had no Tyreek Hill. Half their line was, in the hospital. Like, this is a different Chiefs team in Arrowhead.
This is a healthy Chiefs team coming off a bye, dude.
Look out.
There's no way. There's no way. This Texans team is fine at best. I think the Titans should have probably won that division.
Yeah,
and
they should have.
Texans might not even have made the playoffs. Oh, my God.
This isn't a divisional game, right?
No.
Okay.
Chiefs are in the West. Texans are in the South.
Yeah.
The last game on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, will be the Packers and the Seahawks. Seattle's going into Lambeau Field. The Packers are a 4-point favorite against Russell Wilson and them boys. So, Lucas, what do you think about this game?
I think Seattle wins outright. I was talking to some of my Packers colleagues, and I was trying to get their side of the story. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Bears fan. I really think this is the Packers' matchup nightmare. I don't think they match up well with them at all. I think their red zone defense saved them a lot this year, and I personally think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in football right now at this moment, and I will take him over anybody. I think he is going to have a great game. Yeah, I think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in football right now.
You would take Russell Wilson over Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson?
Absolutely. I think Lamar Jackson's close. I think
though he hasn't been playing him like himself for the past couple of weeks in the cold. Dude.
I think the Seahawks are not a very good football team on paper.
Really?
I think they are being completely carried by Russell Wilson. I think if you put Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes on that team, they would not have the success he's having.
Really?
Bold take. Yes,
Patrick Mahomes? What?
I think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in football right now.
What?
They might have close to success, but I love Russell Wilson. I think he's absolutely carrying that team.
A tidbit to the fantasy football brawl listeners out there. If you want to know what I am and if you want to know who I study, you can look at my Twitter bio. It says it right there, who I study. And I study these quarterbacks. But I had a name for it in my Twitter bio. That's right. And Lucas, you're wrong, but that's fine. I got the Seahawks this week. Aaron Rodgers ain't it, man. Kind of looks washed. Not gonna say he is washed, but he looks washed. And Joe throwing up the hands to Jesus and God up there, praying, namasteing, because he's a big Bears fan. So am I, but chill. And I just think that this Packers team is fraud-like, man. I'm not gonna say they're frauds. They're fraud-like, because I don't want to offend anybody. But man, they're just not good. They're like kind of got a stinky vibe to them. I think that they're very easily beatable.
Not at home though. They're very good at home. The best home team in the league playing the best road team in the league.
But dude, look, listen here.
I'm saying 20-17. I didn't get my prediction. That was my prediction. 20-17 Seahawks.
Didn't the Bears go 7-1 at home last year in the cold and then lose to the Eagles?
I think it'd be a very close game. I'm taking Seattle 20.
I got Seattle. I think that this Packers team ain't it, man. I just don't trust them. I think they have a lot of stinky vibes, and they have flaws. They have flaws. They almost lost to the Lions a couple times. They almost lost to the freaking Redskins. They lost. They got blown out by the 49ers. And guess who beat the 49ers this year? And that was the Seahawks. They should have beat them twice, but we're not on that anymore. This Packers team ain't it. Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are going to carry them to a W along with Jason Myers.
What's the score?
17-16.
So, okay. Very close. All right, Joe, what do you think?
I hate to be, all unanimous again, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks as well. Maybe it's my hatred bleeding through, but I think Russell Wilson can really do some. I'm with you in the fact that if he's not the best in the league right now, he is right in there in that conversation. He's right there.
Maybe the way I should have phrased it is I think he means the most to his team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Lamar or Patrick would do the same thing if they were on to the Seahawks.
No, for sure. He's definitely carrying them. And you got to think about it. They've lost both their starting 2 running backs. They're playing basically running backs.
Their offensive line is decimated.
Yeah, their offensive line has always not really been that good, and they're hurt. They lost their number 1 tight end. They're playing Jacob Hollister. He's doing fine, but God, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go a similar score to Joe, being pretty low scoring. I'm not gonna steal your score, 17-16. I'll go
17-14.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. That fits well. I'll take that. So we got, as a group, Joe is out with the Vikings and Lucas and I are with the 49ers. We've all got the Ravens, and we've all got the Chiefs, and we've all got the Seahawks. So we'll find out how smart we are. Hopefully we'll be like Joe was last week.
Hey, guess what? Last week, I was the only one who picked the Titans.
You were?
I'm going to stand up real quick. I'm going to give myself a round of applause.
Yes, tighten up. Tighten up. Big victory for you. You went 3-1. I think I went 0-4. Lucas, how did you do?
I went 1-3.
Woo!
But,
y'all listen to the young kid here.
But I got a medal in DraftKings, so.
There you go.
Okay.
You guys can talk once you catch me.
All right, we'll close out this episode by putting our experts to the test. Which one player will
Patrick
be
Mahomes.
Top scoring player of the weekend? Joe says Patrick Mahomes. Lucas?
I agree. Patrick Mahomes. I think he's thrown 4 to 5 TDs. No
dude.
So boring, but I'm going to agree as well. So Patrick Mahomes, the pressure is on you, man. Go make us look smart, please.
Let's get a Kermit. Get a Kermit.
Yeah. Go
Eat that steak with ketchup.
Yeah, we just gotta get out there and throw the ball,
You sound like Ed Orgeron, bro.
That's a little different than my.
Joe, you give your impression of Pat Mahomes first.
Me?
No, Joe. I want to hear it. Do it again. Go ahead.
Okay.
Give us like a 10
Andy, Coach Reed, he just called a good passes, and I just went out there and threw the ball, and Tyreek Hill ran down the field, and I just threw him, and he ran past the defense, and I just threw it up there for him.
Well, Tyreek Hill and McCall Hardman are so fast, they're running down the sideline. They just can't keep up with them.
That was better.
And we're gonna come out there and kick their butts today. Okay? We're gonna go out there and kick their butts. You like that?
I like my steak with ketchup. I think that we're going to win this week pretty big. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game for us, and I think that Andy Reid is going to have a good game plan. And you know what they say, steak with ketchup is the best way to eat steak.
Well done.
The other day, Coach Reed, he threw his belt up, and it covered up the hole in the ozone.
I think if we can mash all 3 of ours together, we'll have something pretty good. Because he's got a little rasp. He's got a little bit of a rasp in his voice, but it's also high as well, so it's weird. He's got a very unique
His
voice.
brother is weirder, dude.
Well,
I saw him at the Bears game. When I went to the Bears game, I saw Patrick Mahomes' brother going into the – he walked right by me with his parents. It was very cool. Yeah.
That's a weird dude. His TikToks are very strange.
Doesn't he do a bunch of dance videos or something?
Yeah.
I'm not hip enough.
He's just not very good at dancing, and he's just kind of awkward.
He's probably much better than I am. Well, Joe, do you want to wrap this up with the fake Joe with a conclusion?
Oh yeah. All right, guys, make sure to follow us at the Brawl Fantasy. That is BRAWLFANTASY. That's spelled correctly, I think. Okay, good. Okay. Scripps National Spelling Bee champion right here. Follow Lucas on Twitter at lberry_40. That's a master's man. He's our expert, and he's very good at his job. And follow my man, the 19-year-old prodigy kid, Joa, at 72strobro. And make sure to give us a like on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and check out our sponsors, Fanatics and StubHub. Thank you all for listening. I will see you next week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Adios, amigos.
Oh.
Dude, turn us off. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Trying to.
End the recording.